Arts. I'm Caterina and I am so happy to have you here today. I want to thank you for all your thumbs up, your subscriptions, your likes, and all your comments. We really appreciate it. And today I've got something pretty fun for you. A friend of mine said, I wish I could be a fly on the wall and watch you create. And so that's what we're going to do today. I'm going to share my my July art journal pages with you. And so we've taken little snippets as I've been working on it, and we're going to put them all together, weave them together, and you're going to see the finished product in the end. And I can't wait to share it with you. Okay, so I start my journaling process every month by writing, and so I already have the pages designated. So in my book I have July. It says I've written July at the top of the page, so I just go right to my journal. I make lists, I write about what's going on, the things that I want to do, and all of, just things that are going on in my life. I just write it all out and write it down on the page. And I write over and under and around and through. So I write everything down, and then generally I will cover up all the writing, or most of the writing anyway. And this time I decided to use a gesso and an ultramarine blue. And normally I do mix some kind of paint, but usually it's not this bright. But I really liked the color. It just really spoke to me, and so I just covered the pages really liberally with the paint and the gesso. And I like mixing the gesso and the paint together because it's a really nice texture together, the paint with the gesso. Gesso can be kind of crunchy and rough, and the paint kind of makes it smoother and, yummier. I have to say yummier. Okay, now I've decided I really want to knock back some of the blue. I want it to be just a little bit whiter, so I'm coming back with a little bit of white paint and just making it a paler blue. And I liked it much better. And then I decided to go ahead and sand the page. And I almost always use my sanding sponge to sand it. I want to see some of the writing come up from the page, and so that's what I'm doing. And if I had to sand a bigger area, I would use a mask, so just letting you know that. Okay, now I've got all my bits again. I'm gonna sort through. I just pulled things at random that were really speaking to me. I didn't think about it. I just said, oh, I like this, I like this, I like that, and just grabbed them all and put them all on the desk. And started just playing with the bits to see how I want to glue them down. And the way that, I just wanted to juxtapose everything and see what they looked like together and what wanted to live together and what didn't. So that's what I'm doing here. I'm just kind of playing with it and just moving things around. And deciding whether I like the script, the antique paper, and all the laces together. And then I decided, okay, I want it even whiter. This is why I don't do anything in real time, because, you just never know how things are going to go. And in the studio, I'm kind of like a little bee going from project to project. So I'm using a really transparent paint right now with a small brush to make movement lines. It's a zinc white is what it is, and it's really light, and it's just going to kind of pull the page together, both pages together. I really love the way it always looks, and you can still see the background come through, but it has a nice texture. Okay, now I've decided, instead of just gluing the pieces down, I'm going to stitch them together in little groups and bundles. I have no idea where I'm going with this. I'm just listening and just stitching and just allowing everything to just flow just together. And I'm not going to worry about how it's supposed to come together or what it's supposed to look like. I'm just stitching. And they're not neat stitches, I'm just tacking. And this is going to take me a bit of time to do the stitches and to put everything together. I'm just enjoying the way the papers feel together as I stitch, and it's just a really meditative process for me. I just really enjoy doing small stitching. And normally I don't do this on journal pages. I usually just glue everything down. But there was this, I had this sense that I wanted everything to really kind of stick out. I didn't want them to be glued flat to the page. I wanted things to be more textural and have more dimension and more depth. And so I'm just kind of, playing with it and stitching groups together and making bundles. And I'm arranging things on the page too, trying to get an idea of, what I like, what, to me, they always kind of tell me where they want to live and, what wants to live together, this lace, this paper, this bit of string. Okay, the little bundles are coming together. I don't know why I'm calling them bundles. Actually, they're groupings, maybe. I'm enjoying the way it looks, and I really like the definition. And I'm also using some pieces of hand-dyed black bean fabrics and some other tea-dyed pieces in here as well, and then stitching those together. So I'm just adding layer upon layer of pieces and just letting the stitches just go. I'm not even paying attention to the ends, just putting them all together. And now this little piece gave me some fits trying to get it together and to decide exactly the way it should look. And I tried stitching this, and curses, it kind of came apart, but I really like the way the end result with that black bean dyed lace. Rats, rats, rats. But I finally rustled it and stitched it up and got it ready for the page. Okay, time to glue everything down. I think I have a pretty good idea of the way it came out, the way it turned out, and the way I want to arrange all the elements on my page. And so I have 4 basic elements that are stitched, and a small piece right there in the center that's going to bring everything together too. And then I'm gluing the handmade papers and laces down with my little chipboard brush and gel medium. and I'm just barely tacking it down with glue. I don't want it to look flat. I want it to be raised. I want it to look fluffy. But I also want the handmade paper to look kind of wispy on the page. And so I was blending that in a bit with my brush and my hands. And of course I'm using gloves because I'm using a golden gel medium, and you don't want a lot of contact with that on your hands, so you want to use gloves when you glue. And that allows me to use my hands and make sure all the pieces aren't going to fly up, or that there's something that should be connected that's not being connected. So finally, at the end, I realized, oh, I think I'm making clouds, and I really like the way they're turning out. And here's the finished piece. And I love the subtle color and the fluffy white clouds. So we're at Ciao for now, and I enjoyed working on the pages and sharing with you the technique that I used for these pages. I'm crazy about them, actually. I really love the way it turned out, and it wasn't until I really got it done that I realized I was creating this wonderful cloud scene and making clouds. And that's really what my July was all about, was rest, relaxation and serenity, and the deep blue sea and beautiful puffy white clouds. So until next time.